Today, a geyser in Yellowstone National Park suddenly erupted after years of inactivity. But there's no reason to panic about an imminent volcanic eruption, according to a new study. "We didn't find any evidence that a major eruption was imminent," said Michael Manga, professor of Earth and Planetary Sciences at the University of California, Berkeley, and lead author of the study, in a press release. "I think that's an important conclusion. The popular national park sits atop a supervolcano, and volcanic eruptions have occurred within the park over the past 2 million years, according to the National Park Service. However, about 174,000 years have passed since the last eruption, the Park Service reports. Scientists have been closely monitoring the volcano's activity, and they believe an eruption is highly unlikely in the next 1,000, if not 10,000 years. The 2018 eruption of Steamboat Geyser, the world's tallest active geyser, surprised some because it had been dormant for 3.5 years, according to a news release published by Alert, a subsidiary of the American Association for the Advancement of Science. Some speculated that it signaled a possible explosive volcanic eruption in the surrounding geyser basin, the press release stated. These hydrothermal explosions can eject mud, sand, and rock into the air and release hot steam, posing a threat to life. A similar eruption on White Island in New Zealand in December 2019 killed 22 people. According to the National Park Service, Steamboat Geyser can shoot water more than 300 feet high. In a study to be published this week in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, geoscientists at UC Berkeley report that there is little indication that the volcano is imminent. They also found little indication of magma moving underground, a prerequisite for an eruption, Alert reports. Hydrothermal eruptions, essentially hot water exploding upon contact with hot rock, are one of the biggest hazards in Yellowstone, Manga said in the press release. The reason these eruptions are problematic is that they are very difficult to predict. It's not clear if there are any early warning signs. The ground near Steamboat Geyser heaved and shook moments before the geyser became active again, scientists found. The area around Steamboat Geyser also emitted more heat. However, no other geysers reactivated, and groundwater temperatures remained the same. No one knows for sure why Steamboat Geyser started erupting again in 2018. It is more variable than the popular and well-known Old Faithful Geyser, but Manga and his team could find no evidence that new magma caused Steamboat's reactivation. Internal plumbing could have caused the geyser to reactivate, and changes in the amount of silica rock buildup beneath the geyser could have caused the eruption to cease, according to the press release. We're asking a very simple question, and it's a bit embarrassing that we can't answer it, because it means there are fundamental processes on Earth that we don't fully understand, Manga said. One of the reasons we think we need to study geysers is because if we can't understand and explain how geysers erupt, our hope of doing the same with magma is much lower. Meanwhile, Old Faithful in Yellowstone National Park spews 204-degree water, but newly discovered evidence suggests that the deadly geyser cone once housed trees, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. That's impossible, except in one instance, experts say. There was a time when Old Faithful wasn't faithful at all, Yellowstone Volcano Observatory scientist Mike Poland said in a video posted to social media. Now, we know that trees won't grow in geysers because of the hot water. The hot water kills them, so the trees must have grown at a time when Old Faithful was dormant. Several mineralized tree specimens were discovered and analyzed, giving scientists a rough estimate that the trees lived 600 to 800 years ago, he said. The geysers certainly didn't erupt at all. This actually relates to periods of drought in the region. In fact, droughts across much of the western United States. So during periods of severe drought, when the water level beneath Old Faithful was probably quite low, the geyser didn't erupt. The popular geyser, got its name from the fact that it always erupted about once every hour and a half, Poland said. However, that has changed over time. The geyser erupted every 60 to 70 minutes when it was first scientifically described in the 1970s, he said. The periods began to lengthen in the 1950s after a series of earthquakes, including a magnitude 7.3 quake in 1959, he said. Old Faithful is estimated to have erupted 1 million times since its discovery in 1872, according to YellowstonePark.com. The water inside exceeds 400 degrees, but cools by about 200 degrees as it erupts from the ground, much to the delight of waiting tourists, according to the National Park Service. This geologically fragile region experiences an average of 100 earthquakes each month, Poland said in the video. Monthly data also shows the caldera area around Old Faithful has been sinking at a rate of about an inch per year since 2015. But Giantess Geyser is roaring again after more than 6.5 years without an eruption, Yellowstone National Park tweeted on Saturday. Giantess Geyser is a fountain-type geyser that can erupt as high as 200 feet, according to the National Park Service. During an eruption, the area around the geyser can shake due to, quote, underground steam explosions. Some fear that the new earthquakes and seismic activity at Yellowstone are signs that the supervolcano beneath the park is about to erupt, which could have regional and global consequences. Such a major eruption would have regional impacts such as ashfall in short-term, years to decades, changes in global climate, he said. The surrounding states of Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming closest to Yellowstone would be impacted by pyroclastic flows, while the rest of the United States would be impacted by ashfall. However, the U.S. Geological Survey says Giantess Geyser's behavior is fairly typical for geysers, and this eruption is not a sign that 2020 will bring anything to worry about in Yellowstone.